What? Why?
Here, eat this.
What is that stuff?
That's an old piece of poo I had left over from last year. Oh, yes!
Let's say hello to the young poisonous snake. Come on, Graham. I'm getting bored.
Here, boy!
Poor Graham. Cedric shows no mercy. What a wonderful bluebird. It could almost make Graham happy again if it wasn't for Cedric. The bluebird is too busy taking a dump to answer Graham. Watch out for those drop-offs, Graham. Graham watches with surprise as a contingent of ants rushes toward Graham with hatred in its red-rimmed eyes.
Oh, I didn't know this was a private forest. Do you own it?
Cedric wisely decides to keep his mouth shut.
Ooh, is that a new dance, Graham?
I'll take care of you, Cedric. Don't stop now. Go on.
Take a look around if you want, but we don't have any shoes to sell you right now.
You don't have any shoes for sale, huh? We'll see about that.
There ain't nothing you can do.
Drat. Just missed him. Why, you little...
Come on in. Though did you get this wunderbar marionette?
I don't think you need to know. Keep quiet about my presence.
Inside the barrel, Graham sees an old rotting fish. This smelly old fish is delicious. That was the best old fish Graham has ever eaten.
Graham, help me!
Thank you, sir. I appreciate all you've done for me.
Cheer up, Graham.
I am Queen Isabella.
Are my friend and I free to go now?
Yes, I will release both you and your owl friend, and you two can continue on your journey unhindered.
Come on, Graham. Don't waste your time with that cow.
I have decided you shall both be put to death.
Graham, I've heard from Crispin.
What have you done? Now why won't you work? Oh, Princess Cosima. Well, I did it. Cedric is dead.
Dead? Are you sure? Maybe he's only trying to trick you.
He's dead, all right. He'll never bother anyone else ever again. Crispin!
I have the solution to all your problems, Graham. Hocus Aliopus.
Valony! My children! My joy knows no limit!
Oh, Father, I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, Princess Cosima, come over here. Begone, you slithery varmint! Scat! What about Cedric?
Where is Cedric?
Over there. I killed him. Is there anything you can do about it?
Let me think. Ah, yes. I think I know. Abra! Cadabra! Here, eat this.
It looks delicious. I'm sure I will. Let's go home, shall we?
And with that image, I think we quite gladly segue over into the last part of this wonderful adventure we've been experiencing. Well, that we were experiencing during the last stream, but I didn't finish because well, you'll see the remainder of it. Even though there's still theoretically 1/3 of it left is... Oops. Is... whatchamacallit? Actually quite lengthy. Also, it will not show up in OBS, why is that? There. Not sure what that was about, but now it's visible. Yep, we still have to finish King's Quest 2. The remake, that is. Which I don't believe there's that much left, unfortunately, but yeah. I guess when that's done, we'll do King's Quest 3 and then 4. 4 only the original, because unfortunately it was not remade, so... But we'll get to that in due time. Also, I need to boost my volume slightly, I think. Yeah, that should be good. Because last time we were fumbling about, we were given a sugar cube, oh yes, by that flying horse. But now we're off to... okay, hang on a minute. There we go. Now we are off to find the final gem. Since we got the first one from the Neptune King.
It is a slightly luminescent blue stone.
And the second one from the Cloud Spirit.
It is a slightly luminescent green stone. There's not much you can do with the pumpkins right now.
That's a bit weird, because pretty sure there's an item that the pumpkins can give you that you will need for this last section. So I'm guessing if you don't get it before now, that it's turned night, you can't really do much about that. Also, I nearly forgot we actually need to go right from the town entrance. Because the church is now open.
A beautiful stained glass window. The church bell is tolling. Finding the door unlocked and unbarred, you enter the church.
Yep. And if you recall, in the original King's Quest 2, it was a pretty ordinary church with, well, if you try to kill the priest, the game kills you, but here things are gonna be a little bit different.
The monk is dressed in a simple ankle-length robe. A belt of thick leather is tied around his ample waist. He wears worn sandals. You notice a Bible on the end of a pew. There is no congregation in attendance.
Well, I'm trying to interpret the Bible
there. You look over the Bible, which appears to be many decades old. You open it and find that an otherwise blank page at the front has been written on. It is dated over 20 years ago.
Well, apparently they're the chosen few blessed by the spirits of the wild. And they don't have a lot of sympathy for Kolima's ruler, apparently, so... Lowoff says to hear the warning howls, and...
You return the Bible to where you found it. You also notice that a page from the Bible has fallen onto the floor.
And apparently they really hate the Count's family, the Lord of Kolima, that is.
The church has nothing to give you.
Well, what about this page on the ground?
You pick up the fallen page and read it. The words appear to have been written recently. Silently with newfound skill, Riley's souls naughtily steal.
Actually, no. I'm trying to save. Thank you very much. There we go. If you try to use a hand icon on the
It
priest,
would not be prudent to touch a man of the cloth without his consent.
maybe use the sword on the priest?
You cannot be serious. Even if you are so inclined, there are laws against homicide in this land.
No, that doesn't quite work.
You can...
So that's not really an option right now, I don't think.
The monk is in deep prayer and does not respond to your words.
Well, let's do the obvious solution and join the monk.
Feeling humbled, you kneel down to pray. You rise again after a few moments. The monk stirs, stands, and turns to face you.
So now we can speak to the monk. As before.
Father, I go now to a place of darkness. While I am stout of heart, the path laid down before me is unclear. I seek only the knowledge that my passage be illuminated by heavenly favor, and a prayer that I may make it through.
The monk gives you a reassuring smile and pats you on the shoulder. He then lifts a silver cross from around his neck and places it in your hands.
Thank you.
You are welcome, my child.
You can talk?
Of course.
I thought monks were forbidden from speaking.
Not all churches follow the same rules, and this church is quite unique.
Really? How so?
The monk just smiles placidly at you.
And yeah, this church is quite unique. Let's see if we can talk to him more.
About this crucifix.
I believe you will find the cross to be of immense value. It has come to us at a huge price.
It was expensive?
I mean that it has cost us more than any value to be in possession of it.
If you say so.
If I may ask, why is it that you only open the church at dusk?
We find the late hours more favorable.
Surely then you would not have many in your congregation.
Yes, that is true.
Nothing else to say about that.
What do you know of the Count?
Only that he is a heathen, a blasphemer. You serve God well by going there, my child. Bless you.
The monk smiles at you, turns back to the altar, kneels, and resumes his prayers.
So yeah, so basically he's not going to talk to us anymore, so... Well, we can check out the back place of the church where the graveyard is.
You've never been terribly fond of gargoyles, and this one isn't likely to sway your opinion. Rarlap Neven, 985 to 1015. The jester joked his life away until a quip he made one day insulted was a baron's son who had this poor old jester hung.
Well,
Lester Williamson, 1300 to 1345. Here lies a man who feared all bugs, too scared to even lift his rugs. For if he had, he would have found insects that make little sound, with bites so deadly for their size that surely did cause his demise.
so he was properly paranoid, I see. Well, there's only one grave that we're supposed to see here, really.
Lyot O'Maleef.
Not that one.
Larman Odnarb.
Might be that one, actually, I don't remember.
Bridget O. Troublewater.
I think it was Larmon Odnarb.
Rebecca Twintle.
But yeah,
Goulash Thompson.
lots of quippy epitaphs.
Hamish Bite, 12. Lefleur Povance, 905 to 987.
And
It is likely that only the most devout believers have been buried in there.
here are the tombs for the wealthy people, but now that we've seen those names, not much we can do there, and we can't really dig right now as we don't have a shovel, but we do well to remember those names.
Without warning, a pair of wolves dart out of the dark forest and dash towards you.
Well,
For a minute there, you thought those wolves were going to attack. Curious as to why they didn't, you decide to follow them.
so we do.
You see the monk standing alone outside the church. Then you notice the two wolves approaching him. You are about to yell a warning to the monk but the words die in your throat as the man steps forward and pats the wolves' heads.
Well...
No, my brothers. We must not hurt him. Not yet. He will go to the heathen's abode. He will do what needs to be done. What if he does not? Then, my brothers, we will complete the task before us. The one we began many years ago.
Yep. And now, you kind of know.
You quickly move away from the church, your heart racing faster with every step. You have a good idea now what will happen once the moon comes out in full, and you do not want to be anywhere near here when it does.
So a bit of a change from
One
the...
thing's for sure, you're not getting married in that church.
Bit of a change from the original, you might say. With that little detail there. Which shall actually be followed up, if I recall. Actually, wait, before we proceed, there's something kind of important we have to do. If Graham will move. If he will move. Apparently it doesn't work that way. What if he tries moving south here? Now it works. And this is where we need to be. In the dwarf's house, where we could enter before.
You rap on the treehouse door and wait a moment, but get no response.
Well, now hide behind this branch. I do believe that's what you need to do. Possibly. Or perhaps not.
You rap on the treehouse door and...
Maybe leave the screen and come back. I actually don't recall exactly
how. You hear the
how.
sound of a child sobbing nearby.
Exactly how this is done. Actually, wait a moment. Maybe we need to do this first. That's right. There's a child sobbing nearby. Oops. Maybe off to the right. Maybe to the south, if there is a way south.
You hear the...
Yes, I know. You've told me 3 times now. There we are.
As you approach, you recognize the child. It is Possum, the little girl you helped earlier today.
So we have to listen to her voice one more time, I guess.
Are you all right? What happened?
I went into town to buy some chicken soup for my grandma. I always try to reach home before dark, but this eve I lost my way and was attacked.
Attacked? A wolf attacked you?
No, not by a wolf, a dwarf.
For a moment, you're not sure that you heard correctly.
A dwarf, did you say?
Uh-huh. He jumped out at me, took my food, and then ran away.
Listen, I'm going to try to find this dwarf that you say stole your food. You get back to your grandma, understand?
Possum nods, says a soft thank you, and heads back home.
Well, thank goodness we know where the dwarf lives. From our previous foray into this game. Maybe now this will work.
You rap on the treehouse door and...
Well, now will we be able to hide behind... There we go. Yep, there's a dwarf.
As a little man runs out of the door, which has been built into a tree, you surmise that you have found the culprit's home. The vague aroma of chicken soup confirms it. That fiend.
And off he goes, leaving us behind, leaving his house door open. That's pretty intelligent. Hello? Could you please go inside, Graham? Do you have to use a hand?
Finding the door ajar, you cautiously open it and step inside the tree.
So let's check out what's here this time. Let's check out what's here this time, I said. There we go. Whoops. Should probably save here, actually.
Some inexpensive-looking pitchers decorate the shelves. There is a pot of chicken soup boiling over the fire.
So that's what we're after.
An old trunk rests in the corner of this hovel. A very sharp knife has been stabbed into the table.
Well, let's try opening the chest first. see what lies
Upon
inside.
opening the trunk, you find a number of items that the dwarf has obviously stolen and stashed away. Among them are some gold coins. They display the distinctive face of the first king. They could only have come from the magic chest of Daventry.
Apparently this guy stole coin from the magic chest. That's a bit weird.
You grab the handle of the bubbling pot of chicken soup. You take it with you.
Yep, and let's try getting that knife.
That's not a knife. The knife you found under a rock one time? Now that was a knife.
Okay, subtle nod to the first game there, but yeah, we can't get the knife. And we have a sword, so I guess that's the rationalization we get.
The door is all...
Well, that didn't work last time. Just confirming.
You hear the latch fall into place again as the door closes behind you.
So I guess both the dwarf and us are locked out of the house now. But we have the chicken soup, so let's go and visit Grandma, I guess. And here we are.
Come in, please. Possum told me to expect you.
Yep, and...
Grandma looks too weak to talk at length.
So now that we have this, we can give that to her.
It is a little too cold to be serving to frail old ladies.
Well, alright then, heat it up again.
You place the now cold chicken soup over the crackling fire once more. After it heats up to eating temperature, you remove it again.
So now here you go. Okay.
You offer the soup to Possum's grandma, introduce yourself, and wait courteously while the frail elderly lady eats the nourishing meal. When she is finished, she sets the empty bowl down elsewhere and turns her attention towards you.
So now we can talk. Well, let's see what she has to say.
They say a home. They say a...
I'm trying to talk to her. There
If
we
you
go.
would like to speak with me for a while, I would welcome your company. A person should never turn away a visitor, especially when she reaches the twilight of her life.
You can't help but feel a sense of finality in the old woman's words.
Yep, there
You
is
must
that to
have
keep in mind.
something in return for your kindness. You do not need to risk your safety for an old, worn-out woman like myself. Look under the bed. You should find something to keep you a little warmer on a cold night like this.
Also on the wall, if you notice, there's a couple of paintings.
The painting on the wall looks like an artist's depiction of the Kalima landscape.
And next to that,
It is a portrait of a young man. He looks somewhat familiar.
yeah, this is how we got the cloak in the first game, if you remember. And the
You
ring.
peer under the bed and find a thick black cloak. Lying atop it is a beautiful ruby-encrusted ring. You pick both up with reverence.
I could not possibly take these fine things from you.
Oh, please. I want you to have them. Nights in Kolima are cold, believe me. As for the ring, well, perhaps it is better that I do not have it to remind me.
As you wish.
But we can press the issue, I believe, and I actually believe we must to get all the points, but...
You have a charming young granddaughter.
Grandma smiles at you graciously.
She is a treasure to me. I would do anything to ensure that no harm comes to her.
If I may inquire, what became of her parents?
Well,
Grandma frowns, and her eyes darken for a moment before she forces a melancholy smile to her face.
They were lost to us many years ago. I am afraid dear Possum never really knew her parents.
It must have been a daunting task raising a child by yourself, especially at your
At my age? I am certainly not as young as I used to be, and there is no shame in that. I have tried to raise her as best I could, to keep her safe and well. However, I fear that as of late the reverse has become truer.
well, what else do you have to say? Maybe something about Grandpa?
They say,
If you please, I was hoping you might tell me of the cloak and ring's origin.
the old woman closes her eyes as if the memory she seeks is painful to her senses.
They were my husband's. He was a proud man, the last of his line. His family had been rich, A great deal of old money, you might say. They lived in that castle you might have seen to the north. Its location upon that island is evidence of how much they valued their privacy. He was a good man, my husband. He took care of me. Certainly he had his strange habits. Most men do, if you will pardon me for saying so. I suspect that he practiced magic, so I could never catch him in the act. He would frequently journey afar, taking that black cloak with him wherever he went, to places he would not talk about.
Well, things are a bit different here. Actually, wait a moment. If I unfocus, it pauses.
To a certain group of people,
well, there was something I was going to do that I completely forgot about, but
anyone.
I can still do it.
He was always there for me, always, until that fateful night.
Yep. Actually, wait. Let me... Yep, take a good look at that, but... Before we continue... It's time for a quick history lesson. Quite a long time ago, and by that I mean mid-19th century, there lived a man, name of Ludwig. Ludwig II of Bavaria, or Ludwig Otto Friedrich Wilhelm, who wasn't terribly known for his way of doing things, politically wise, but he did commission quite a bit of artsy stuff, including the famous castle Neuschwanstein, which is still pretty popular in Germany. Incidentally, he looks like this. Or looked like that. Best to keep that in mind. So now that we've seen that, back to the game.
We had been married just over a year, and I was heavy with child. We were both out walking in the weirwood forest late one night. The air was warm, and in our youth we paid little attention to the world and its many dangers.
Oops.
Besides, there was a full moon. We could see clearly enough. A shadow passed over us. We looked up, thinking it might have been a stray cloud. It was not. Descending upon us like a demon was the largest, most hideous bat I had ever seen. Its fangs were bared, and it dove straight for me. I must have screamed. My husband flung himself in front of me to protect me. He swung his arms about frantically in hopes of warding the horrid thing away. Perhaps he was trying to cast a spell, but could not recall how in his panic. It paid him no heed and would not be deterred. It swooped again and again, relentlessly. At one point, my husband's hand must have clipped the bat's wing because it lost control and crashed into his shoulder. He tried to wrest the foul creature away, but then he shrieked suddenly. The horrid thing had bitten him.
And that's how that happened.
He never did recover from that incident. He just faded with each passing hour. Within 2 days of the attack, my husband had died. We buried him on his family's plantation on the island. Sometimes when I sleep, I can feel him watching over me, guarding me, protecting me. I think he is waiting for my time to come so we can be together always.
The old lady seems to be dozing off. You can barely hear her final words.
I miss him so.
Telling the story has clearly taken a great deal out of her. You watch the old woman a moment and notice her labored breathing as she sleeps. Despite the little girl's tireless daily efforts, perhaps there's nothing more to be done.
Well, perhaps, but... yeah, that's what pressing the issue did.
Sister Agatha, my dear. Tell me you have good news.
The king has arrived in Kalima, father.
That is not what I meant.
Yes. Well, he appears to be quite resourceful. It seems his reputation was not totally exaggerated.
He's still alive?
For now, but that will change soon, I think. The king has discovered that one of the gems he seeks is in the possession of a colleague of ours. Do you remember? Kaldor.
Yes. Is he still trustworthy?
Totally. Still sharp, and there's no questioning his loyalty. My humblest apologies, father, but would it not have been simpler for you to have dealt with Graham personally?
Fool! Imagine the ensuing chaos where Daventry's king murdered in his own land. How then would I be able to search for the item?
I see.
Failure is not an option.
Understood, father.
Keep me informed, preferably of good King Graham's death.
Well, I suppose she will. Gotta stare at the ball for a few more seconds though. Ah, there we go. So after witnessing the last words of an old woman, I guess, and having getting the rest of the stuff we need to go into the swamp, including that note, let's actually do so. I believe that should be perfectly possible now. Well, we could... let me see. Well, here we're in the swamp. We actually couldn't have gone here before, I don't think, but if we head too far in and touch the water...
You feel the poisonous water seeping into your skin. Its potency takes effect immediately, and you perish within seconds.
Yep, that's how that happens. But we do have a hint as to where to go. You can barely see it, but we can go south from here. There's a bit of land that we can do that in. There we go. But then where do we go? We did get that note from the Bible.
You read the Bible page again. Silently with newfound skill, Riley souls naughtily steal.
James, you might have figured out what that means. So silently with newfound skill. Did it say naughty souls? Or
you silently?
No, Riley souls. Okay. Riley souls naughtily steal. And that somehow brought us here, with the castle in the background.
From here, you cannot make out much detail. However, it is unquestionably a castle.
So let's proceed, actually, yeah. We can see someone there.
The shrouded ghoul looks very frightening. His hands are little more than claws, and his face is nearly completely hidden inside the hood of the shroud. He is standing in a small boat.
We could, do things the usual way and just approach.
Boatman, I need passage. I said...
I heard.
The ghoul's voice chills you to the bone. It speaks with a deep, resonating bitterness. You cannot make out a great deal of its face, but what you can see has the hairs on the back of your neck standing on end.
If you say so, game.
In life, I would row this boat for the master. Long ago was my untimely death in these waters, but still, I remember many things. Laughter, tears, joy, pain.
Okay. So he's not going to take us across then?
May I cross, Sir Boatman?
You have come to raid the master's house. This I know, but care not about. You should be warned, though. The master is not what he once was. Never has this land known a kinder, more compassionate, and nobler ruler than he. But his fate has long since been decided. Down a dark path he now treads, and he feels naught for anyone, nor anything, save for one other. And even that is a rare trait for a Nosferatu.
You freeze. Neither the Door of Destiny nor Neptune mention this count as being undead.
Well, is this leading anywhere, though?
If I may ask, Sir Boatman, how did the swamp come to be here?
No, the ground you stand upon was once farming land.
How did it come to be like this?
A score of years passed after the master died, and a great morass opened up.
The Count has caused this?
It is believed so.
Ah.
The boatman has nothing more to say.
So he says that he doesn't care that we've come to apparently raid the Count. So can we get in the boat?
As you prepare to climb into the boatman extends his claw-like hand to you. Obviously, he no longer gives free rides.
Okay, what happens though if I leave the screen for a moment? And where are these things? As in the original
With
game.
a flourish, you fling the black cloak around your neck and fasten it.
And now you can actually see Graham wearing the cloak.
You are now wearing the beautiful ruby ring.
So in this attire, let's see if anything happens differently.
The boatman. As you prepare to...
No, I guess you do have to pay him. So let's do that with these coins we found in the dwarf's chest.
The boatman accepts your payment and motions for you to climb into the boat. The shrouded ghoul paddles across the toxic lake to the shore on the other side.
And now he got this screen again. Oops.
The thorns and brambles are sharp.
Yeah, probably his head. Even though, you know, in the original he couldn't see through our disguise, and I just saw something. One moment. I wonder if anyone else has seen this, because there is a possibility that they might have. And if what it says is true, then I might have to cut this short, unexpectedly. Well, that's there.
Randy Orton was here.
People are showing up, but yep, this is happening apparently. So this just began. Just thought I would let you know. I have no idea if there was any indication that that would happen, but yeah. So I guess it's a good thing I saved when I did, because I guess we're going to continue from that point on, so can't very well be streaming while Mike is, so there we go. Well, I guess I'll see you there then.
I could watch this all day, I think. Oh man.